All right, welcome to month 4. This month is exciting, but we're going to take it step by step. We've done most of these things before, so it's a review. There are just a lot of components to this one, okay? So we're going to try and keep it organized and go nice and straight through. Okay, first we are going to do some of our Peaky and spike, or our triangle in a square. You're going to use your 2 peaks in 1 ruler to cut from fabric 9 the large triangles, and then you're going to use the bottom to cut the small triangles of fabric number 2. Okay, you are making 4 of these. So we're going to start, and like I said before in the demo, in the Peaky and spike demo that we had posted, I hope you have practiced these because these get very exciting. Before you even start sewing, you want to lay these out so you know which way the triangles go and are being sewn to your center. You're going to flip it over, do a good 1/4 inch seam before pressing out, flipping that on. Your point is going to be above the 4.5, and this is where you're going to get your seam allowance for your top, right? So you're going to sew a good 1/4 inch seam here, and when you press that open, again, being careful of the bias because this is all bias, we want to make sure that when you use your ruler here, that you have a good 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch square, and that you have a good 1/4 inch seam here. If not, you either want to take these apart or cut extra ones to make sure that that happens by adjusting your seam allowances. Okay, so we're making 4 of these, and you get to put them on the side. Yay, step 1. Step 2 is a whole bunch of half square triangles. Now, our half square triangles are done by putting the squares one on top of the other. You're going to mark your center, sew a 1/4 inch to either side, and then you're going to cut them apart. Now, depending on the size of your half square triangle and or what you're going to do with them, you're going to trim. So your first half square triangle, triangle A, is done with fabrics 1 and 2, and these are going to be squared to 4.5 by 4.5. So I have my half square triangle. I have my square in a square ruler where I'm looking at my 4.5 by 4.5. I'm going to put that solid line, diagonal line, on my seam. Before I trim, and that, when I press that open, is going to give me a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch square, half square triangle. Okay, so you are going to be making 8 of those. Now we are going to be making a bunch of half square triangles with 6 inch squares. You are going to have, let's actually do this in order, fabric 9 and fabric 4. You are going to have fabric 9 and fabric 8, fabric 9 and fabric 1, and then fabric 8 and fabric 1. Okay, these start with 6 inch squares. You're going to form them the same way by laying the squares on top of each other, marking the middle, cutting them apart after you've sewn this 1/4 inch seam on either side. And then you're going to take these and you're going to cut them in half. Now, when you cut these in half, you are going to get opposite facing half triangles. Okay, we're going to cut all these. Zoop, 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 and zoop. Okay. So there's going to be a little bit of shuffle magic happening to make hourglass blocks. You're going to be making 4 each of 2 hourglass blocks. So we're taking this block and this block, and then we're taking this block and this block. So on this side, you have the greens and a bright color. On this side, you have your fabric one, which is your light and a bright color. And you're going to do a swap. The swap is this to make the quarter square triangles. Or I'm sorry, yeah, quarter square triangles or hourglasses. Okay, so you have these here. You're gonna take these, you're gonna, oops, nope, wrong ones. See, you're gonna flip them around to get your hourglasses or your quarter square triangles. Now, I pressed to the dark, which is the greens, and then because of this one, the red. So all these seams should nest when you press to the dark, okay? And then you're gonna sew a 1/4 inch before pressing these open. So you are going to have 4 each of these. This is untrimmed and this is trimmed. So this is when I like to really show off that 4.5 inch trimming on this. I'm going to lay my center right on the middle intersection where the 4 corners meet. I make sure that my diagonals are on those seams as well as can be. Get the right angle on that. I think I killed my blade. That's okay. No, it's still okay. Yay! Flip that around and you have your hourglasses. So you are going to have 4 hourglasses, one of this color and one of this color with your half square triangles and this. And if you need to take a break, you need to take a break, okay? You can pause this video here. You can come back when you're ready. This is a long one. This is a long one, people. Okay. Next, what we want to do is to put together our top unit, which is this block here and these 2. So that's our top unit. Then you're going to put your center unit together. Your center unit is the, let's see, we're gonna flip that around so that green lines up here. Okay, so you should have 4 of these and then you should have 4 of these. We have 2 units to put together here. They are opposite sides, so they're mirror images. Okay, so let's put this on the side and we'll go to our last unit. Our last unit, and I was, doing the other pieces and going along and realized, oh, I actually should have saved these for doing these demo, but I'm going to show you on this and then we're going to show you what we do with the long pieces. Okay, so these are 2.5 inches and these are 2.5 inch squares. We are going to do sew and flip bars, and the trick to the sew and flip bars is we want opposite bars. So you're going to sew from corner to corner. You're going to trim that end and you're going to flip out. Okay? What you want to do on the other side is go from corner to corner, trim that little end, and flip out. So you see how we have opposites. Having those opposites is very important. Okay? These are going to be done with fabric number 2 and fabric number 3. These are the long bars. This is 8.5 by 2.5. And you're going to want, oops, let's do it like the picture on the pattern, 4 A's and 4 B's. Okay, this is the first part of your unit. The second part of your unit is you're going to take the flying geese we did earlier. We did do flying geese, right? Did we do flying geese?
Not in this video.
We have not done flying geese. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do some flying geese. 4 at a time flying geese. You're going to start with your 5.5 inch square and 4 3 1/8 inch squares. You're going to line them up on the diagonal. Mark the center, so 1/4 inch on either side. Cut them apart. Push that down, and then you're going to take an additional 3 1/8. Drop that into the corner. Mark the center, so 1/4 inch on either side, and cut those apart. You get an untrimmed goose that we are going to trim to 2.5 by 4.5. We have a tutorial video up on YouTube for this. Okay, you are going to end up with 8 of these. We need 8 of them because we are going to use these, the geese, and the tiny bars to make opposite corner pieces. Okay, so this is going to go on the outside. You're going to take a goose and sew it to the green, and you're going to sew these together. Okay, so you have opposite geese. You see how these are right side and left side? Sew them together. Okay, you're going to have 4 of A unit and 4 of B unit. Now, let me show you one thing. When you're sewing these together, you want this point to come into this point here. That's your 1/4 inch seam. So when you sew those together, this line is continuous. The light switching to the light. So you want to line this point up with the 1/4 inch seam on this point. Okay, a lot of times I'll stab it with a pin to make sure that those points line up before I start sewing together. So if I open this up or fold this in half, I want that to line up on here. Okay, so we've got A and we've got B. Oops, that's not B, this is B. And then we're going to go back with our center with our arrow pointing down, and our, oops, going this way with this in the middle with the greens out, this in the middle with the greens out. So, isn't that an interesting block? Kind of looks like a rocket ship. We've got 4 of these. This is the hardest thing we've seen so far. I know, right? Oh my gosh, so many components, but you got this, and I'll see you next month.